There's some animals there?
No, there isn't on this one. It's right
now.
We started.
Wafting in.
I went to the first barn we started in. Literally, we had to. We took the soil that was there, which was flavored greatly with aromas and of human waste. That's right. Exactly. We took that and we brought some good topsoil in there. So because a lot of people are allergic to dust and so on and so forth. And so it becomes a very obvious thing we have to be very careful of because some people are allergic.
Oh, I never thought about that.
And so we did that. But now where we're at now, it's more of a metal barn right now. But we heated it and insulated it. And so we have heat. Of course, air conditioning was opening 2 big doors and pray for wind.
So now you've been doing this for a while, though. When you started out, I think you said you did actually go from barn to barn a bit, but now you're in more of a solid location.
We're in a solid location, which we are in a process now. Hopefully come a week from this coming Tuesday, we will be meeting with the Planning Commission of Dixon County, and for our I always say final, and I say in the proper sense, not a bad thing, powwow. Anybody from our church can be there and stuff, and hopefully in concept they will approve it. They like the plans we've already drawn up. We're buying 30 acres of land.
Wow.
And right on I-70, and just 2 miles east of Abilene, and we will start building on that.
What size is your congregation?
Right now, we're ministering to probably over 250 people, but we actually average, prior to the summer, of course this summer just as sweltering heat has really hurt us big time, but because no air conditioning.
Yeah, that would be tough.
The natural air.
Yeah.
We were averaging about 100,
cool off at night.
About 150, 160. We were averaging before
at your Sunday
before summer hit.
That's really actually pretty good for that size. That's a good percentage for the size of congregation, don't you think?
It's very good, yeah. Because the average is 75 in America, and we're reaching, and of course we're reaching people that don't come out of the cowboy culture. It just reaches people because it's so safe and relaxed. Because one of our statements of our mission is the fact is we want a loving, safe, and caring environment for them. And this does that.
And so you have a lot of people that aren't necessarily from that cowboy culture.
That's right.
They're just finding
never
this
been in church.
Safe, relaxed.
Case in point, I did a wedding this last weekend. It was an outdoor wedding. Some of the extended family comes to our church, and so on. But what happened is, in fact, is one side of the parents of the couple getting married said, the wife said the next day, she said, "All right," she goes, "this might be one church that maybe we could feel comfortable in," because they never had hardly been in church, and we weren't at church was their style. And so I told them, I said, "We would love to have you. I mean, just care, because we want that. That's when people come, because their image of the traditional church is very negative for a lot of them, and this takes away a lot of that."
Yeah, and it's such a novel approach to the grassroots type of people. You talked about this on the phone when we did a little pre-interview. The grassroots, the farm type even, that I think we have a lot more to talk about, Pastor Stan, but we're going to have to take a little break here, throw some advertisements in here, but we don't want people to lose our listeners, and we want you to go to joanjerkovich.com to look at the video outtakes. You got to see us in our cowboy hats at the least. So we'll be back after a short break. All right. Yeah, I wondered if that was even kind of in the way with the video.
It's always in the way.
So what do you
Let's
say?
just throw it out the window.
What do you say?
So I wanted to kind of hear some more. We got to get about this trail ride where we talked about that. And I like that, we're just kind of going real generic here. I like that. I don't have anything real specific here. I was kind of interested just to hear you talk about the dust when you're doing a dirt floor in your church.
Of course, we have it covered now with a plastic type thing, tarps.
Yeah.
Our daughter-in-law's dad is the top tarp salesman, for grain trucks in the world. And so when he has his old tarps, we asked him if we could use some, and he gave them to him. We just put them down. They're heavy duty. They handle the rough and tough, stomping them. So it cuts down dust because we have to do that. Because it just chokes people up.
Well, if you're strictly with the cowboy ranch hand types, you're probably okay, because they couldn't do that job if they had a problem with that.
But when you're indoors, though, air goes up.
About that.
It stirs up and then it settles.
You're right. They're not out in the pen. They're not out in the.
Whereas that wind's blowing out.
Exactly.
Usually.
Right. Well, we ready?
Yeah.
And we're going to do a short 9 minutes. Let me get my thoughts together for just a second. We're back, and this is Joan with the Joan Jerkovich Show, and we want you to be sure and stay tuned for our second guest this morning. That's going to be Pastor Alan Smith, who's going to talk something about near-death experiences and the very popular book, Heaven is for Real, about the little boy from Nebraska who had a personal experience with that. But Pastor Stan, I want you to tell me a little bit of some things we've been talking to off the microphone here about some of the events you do, where you said you have like a morning service ride out. Tell us about that.
Okay, once a month, which started in November this last year, 2010. Some of the men in our church and the women now have joined it as well. Said we'd like to do a trail, what they call trail ride with the pastor. Now for me, I have to leave the premises because I live right now where the barn is at. But we come in and we go anywhere from 6 to 10 miles away, and hopefully we leave enough time so we can get back in before church starts, and we ride back in. They don't care what the weather situation is, whether it's hot, cold, rainy, snow, we do it.
How many people are usually on this ride?
Well, usually we've had as high as 15, but we could probably potentially have 20 to 25. It all depends. We had a bunch of new ones this last week. I guess it was last week, and so they rode, and some of us couldn't go because of other things, and so we could very well see 2025 is hopefully next month or so.
Do you preempt the rides with a little word of scripture or something?
We
or
just
do you
usually
stop along the way, or is there a little bit of a ceremony to this, or you just all go out?
We go out, we have a time of prayer together before we start.
Okay.
And because everybody's trying to get their horses, because early in the morning horses are feeling frisky and good. And it takes a while, especially when you have a lot of people that aren't very skilled at riding horses.
Okay, so you have just some kind of newer novice riders.
We have some that do it, but we put them on usually horses that are pretty good.
Right.
But we take time to let them get ready, and then we have a word of prayer together, then we head off. And quite frankly, we have to keep moving at a pretty good clip, so we can't really just stop on the way, you know. And we know we're heading to church, and we're going, and then we come in, and it's really cool because we stand, you know, we have horses. We've put up hitching rails around, so people with their horses, my horse, I can just put them in their pen and get into church in time and so on. But it's kind of neat hearing the horses, and some of them they get wound up with each other. And it's just like the real thing, you know. And then you have some of the
guys. So
guys.
while you're actually in the area for the service, you can hear the horses outside.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, they're animals. You're going to hear them.
Yeah, I mean, one of them, like last Sunday, was she put her horse in the trailer, which was right against one of the big doors, and of course he decided to let him out and whinny a lot, and you know, so you just kind of have to flex with it all. But we have also.
So are you pretty good to kind of weave that whinny into your sermon?
If I can, yeah. Depending on
are you good?
It's funny sometimes how they whinny at a moment when it's really apropos. You know, it's like,
wow.
Yeah, it's very good. Thank you for the extra point of emphasis here.
Yeah.
But think about us too. Also, we haven't done it so much this year, but in the last years we've done what's called, try to do once a month, but we haven't done it so much this year. It's called Horse Around Sundays, which people can just bring their horses.
That's novel.
Yeah, we just do things together. We have a couple of people in our church that have nice arenas, because we haven't got one right where we're at right now, which eventually when we build, we'll have an arena there. And with the desire to have both an outdoor and indoor arena. And so, but anyway, what we'll do is do things. You can do games, just working with horsemanship, or just people just ride to be enjoying the ride.
So you really try to foster within your church a real sense of community among this group of people that, and you yourself are a pretty good horseman.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Term? Yeah, I had a horse when I was young, and then I was without a horse for years because I didn't have a place to put a horse, you know. And I guess I could in western Oklahoma, I could have, but I didn't. I was raising my family to start, and you know that costs money, and horses cost money. So now I have horses now, and I have my own stalls and stuff. And it's good getting back into it again with the horses, because I have been really blessed with two horses. One, a Romare, that I was given to free, and then she's given me a beautiful little colt. Well, he's gelding now, but and so you're getting him broke. But it's fun. So as a whole, I know what to do, and you know, you're always learning all the time, no matter what, no matter how good a horseman you are, you're always learning.
Oh, I'm sure. And isn't there something you, with your church, do for one of the local rodeos? I think you talked about that a little bit.
Well, we
is that like an annual event?
Well, let's see what we do. I'm not sure what you were thinking of. There's several things I think of. One is we are sponsors for 3 of our local rodeos. You know, we are the biggest. Our biggest money goes to sponsorship, goes to Abilene Rodeo. We have big signs.
Now, where's that at?
That's in Abilene.
Okay, Abilene.
Yeah, it's one of the top rodeos right now in America right now.
See how much I know.
Yeah, I can see that. We have to educate you a lot, Joan. Then there's Longford that we sponsor there, and then Bennington. Because those 3 really high-profile rodeos that really are good for us to get our name out there. But we also do something at the Abilene Rodeo. We, one night, if not, sometimes we've done it 2 nights, depending if we get other companies or businesses to do it. We will provide the meal for all the cowboys and cowgirls that come in.
Your church will?
Yeah, and we fix a meal. It can be anywhere from sloppy joes to, you know, making ham and cheese sandwiches, whatever. But usually we fix a good meal and try, and they can come. Not every cowboy comes in, but it's a hospitality area. So we do that. That's part of an outreach.
How many people show up to these things?
About 150, and because that's just
you're talking about for the meal, but what about for the whole rodeo?
Oh, well, let's see. I'm trying to think what.
And does it run over several days? Or?
It goes from like a Wednesday through Saturday night, and the Wednesday night's not as large because it's a bull riding. Even though people are still thinking the day of the fair actually starts on the parade day, and that's Thursday, and so they don't always get there Wednesday night. But that's how they think, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday it builds up. And I believe was it 2,500, 3,000 we can hold in the arena.
And you pretty much fill the arena.
Yeah, they do, especially by Friday and Saturday night. It's full.
The weekends.
Yeah, and so that's what we do.
Now, are you chaplain at those as well?
Yeah, I'm chaplain just at the Abilene Rodeo. I will be praying. At least I have. I don't know if I this year I'm supposed to be. I'm praying at the Longford Rodeo, and so. Partly because we're one of the sponsors and they asked me to do it, and that's fine. I don't have to demand it. It's just that privilege I get to have and get the exposure of the church out there.
And this is also your full-time profession, I
Yeah, I'm a pastor.
You're a pastor.
I do some other side jobs. I referee basketball, volleyball.
Oh, you got to be in good shape to do that.
Yeah,
especially basketball.
Yeah, volleyball just stands there, bores me silly sometimes.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
But also I work at a little grocery store 2 days a week, where I worked when I was in high school, and they wanted me to come back to help them out, so I do that. I'm a police chaplain, fire chaplain, hospice chaplain. I wear many hats.
Well, and I think isn't that part of being in that small town of Abilene over there?
Yeah.
Or anything small city seems like you wear many hats, and
people
know you, and they're going to call you for this or that.
And partly with the police, fire, and chaplaincy, the Lord led me to start that about 16 years ago. So. And there was others that joined with me, so we started that. And so Ron Bull, who was the pastor of Crossroads Church here in Salina, he was with me, and we're fellow pastors, same denomination, so he helped on that. And so it's really kind of neat having those connections that we built. But it's just part of ministry. They help in different areas a lot of people never thought about until we brought them up.
Right. And then is there something just as we're going to close the interview here in a little bit, is there something unique to this cowboy culture that you as a cowboy minister, if we call you that, finds kind of repetitive or coming up a lot? What kind of stressors do they come to you with? What kind of support do they need? What are they needing spiritually or otherwise?
For a lot of them, I think the fact is that, because it's crossing not just the cowboy culture, but the fact is that they have value and worth. I think people need to know that, because I think they got to realize that Jesus died for them and gave his life for them and rose again the third day. And the fact is, he did it not just to satisfy his ego, as sometimes I've heard, but the fact he did it because he loved us unconditionally. And he wants us to be able to give of ourselves to him and to recognize he values us that so much. Case in point, I know I could wind up here, but the fact is an individual I was talking to recently that's in and out of relationships, and the same guy, and it's just never good. And I finally looked at the person, she opened the door and I said, "Can I talk straight?" And I did. And I just said, bottom line is, you don't know who you are in Jesus Christ. You don't have a value and dignity of yourself. Because I said, you're being manipulated by somebody. And the fact is, God doesn't manipulate us, but people do. And I said, if you don't realize who you are, you will always be being pulled and torn because of how you don't know. You're trying to find value, and you're always trying to find it in a relationship that always fails.
That's such a good point to end on, because our last show last Saturday was about problems in relationships. And you're giving us another piece of something that people can turn to heal themselves, heal their relationships, and all of that. So, Pastor Stan, you never know. I just might show up at the Cowboy Church.
We'd love to have you.
I don't know if I'll have my hat on or not, but
I want you to know half the church has hat on, half don't. So you're good to go.
I'm good to go. Well, we're going to end here with Joan at the Joan Jerkovich Show, 910 KINA. I am bad about going over for you, Cerise, but...
barely, just barely.
Okay,
there.
good. Maybe my clock's off a little bit.
That sounds like me and Scotty. Man, I got to cut this thing down some
more.
more.
You know. And anytime we do ads, we're always like scratching. Oh, we're scratching, or we're changing a word just to cut a few syllables out and things like that.
Well, see, that's why I come in and do a lot of ads, because we have a concert.
Yeah.
We have a concert
well, you obviously
are
very comfortable with the being here, so it's obvious. Yeah.
And
you work with Scotty on that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. See, we have a concert coming up Monday night that kind of fell in the lap. And so it's one of those things where you just and you do it. See, we do the 5 o'clock stampede on Wednesdays, so we have a minute ad there, and then we try to cut down to 30 seconds. And boy, that's just you just work and work to get it down.